From coast to coast, we've got two hosts to host. Welcome to another episode of the Fivecast Podcast. We're here to break down and examine intricately prepared top 5 lists for your enjoyment. From the Sentinel Tower in parts unknown, I'm your host, Tyler. And from Second Floor Studios in Hollywood, right over there, is Ben Pearson. How you doing, Ben?
What's going on, Tyler? How are you?
Good. We just came down from hosting the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yes.
So welcome to December. I hate to break it to you, Ben, but it is not Tolkien month. Actually, it is Tolkien month, but not here at the Fivecast. I know you're broken up. I know your heart is crying out for 5 weeks of nothing but Tolkien-based lists. But if you do want to go, and I'm pretty sure we've completed everything that we've needed to last year in our Legendarium cast, whatever you want to call it. But this week I figured we'd take it a little easy. Ben, everything's going okay over there in Second Floor Studios?
Everything is going well. I just shaved, Tyler, if that has anything to do with today's topic, maybe. I don't know. Does it?
Well, listening to I want to say colleague podcast, Never Not Funny, with Jimmy Pardo, the Jimmy Pardo podcast. And I believe at one point, we had just started the Fivecast, and they were talking about top 5 mustaches, Ben. So you just shaved your mother effing mustache? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Trimmed it up a little bit, but yeah, I liked the segue opportunity. So figured just go ahead and jump right in.
I assumed that Jimmy Pardo and the gang were listening to the Fivecast. They were like, top 5 mustaches. Let's talk about it for about 20 minutes. And I was like, that's exactly what we do. You guys must love our show. Turns out, yes. I don't think they directly listen to our show, but I'm going to continue to fool myself into thinking that more famous podcasts do listen to us every week, just so that they know what not to cover. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. We're lifting our metaphorical leg on this topic. So.
So for future reference, the Fivecast has covered this topic. We are talking top 5 mustaches. Ben, let's go ahead. Start with your number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is Daniel Day-Lewis's mustache as Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York.
All right, interesting.
I don't know if you are familiar with this movie.
Of course I am.
Martin Scorsese. This is one of my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performances. I actually haven't seen the movie in years, but when we came up with this topic, this was one of the first ones to immediately come to mind.
Right.
Daniel Day-Lewis himself has had some pretty righteous mustaches over the years in the different movies that he's been in.
Right.
But this one, pretty spectacular because it has that real fluff to it, but it also has the curved waxiness to the ends. It's like it's a mix unlike many that I've seen before that has the sort of classical full bush mentality, but also the evil, like almost stereotypically evil, archetypally evil, even twisty, curled ends.
Yeah.
So
he's your railroad villain.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, his entire ensemble, like the massive top hat and everything, and like his like corn cob pipe or whatever he smokes, it just sort of enhances the whole thing. But just strictly on a mustache level, this one's got to make it into my top 5, Tyler. So,
no doubt, that thing is a beautiful sight to behold. Yes. Very, very Hook-esque, if you want to refer back to the Graduate guy.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman's mustache and Hook, very similar. But yes, what a beautiful thing to behold. Now, by the way, we do love mustaches here at the Fivecast. I had a mustache so many years ago, and it was an embarrassment. It was Fez from that 70s show had a thicker mustache than I did.
Uh-oh.
And that is not saying much. I do remember the days of the peach fuzz. I remember shaving my mustache for the first time. Ben, let me tell you a little story. It was a sad day. I knew I didn't want it, but then once I got rid of it, I knew I must have it. And so, 5 years later, I tried to grow it, and it did not work. So I envy those that can grow a mustache. And my number 5, Ben, is a person that can grow a mighty mustache. Perhaps one of the mightiest mustaches in history, even though he's at number 5. And it is Ambrose Everett Burnside, Ben. I'm going to send you a picture of him right now. This
I gotta
man,
see this.
this man fought in the freaking Civil War,
Okay.
and his mustache was so great it grew into the size of his hairline. It was so massive that his upper lip could not handle it, so it had to grow outward and inward back behind his ears.
Send me this picture,
And
sir.
he fought at Bull Run, I believe. He's out of Rhode Island. I believe
Okay.
he fought in Antietam, Fredericksburg. He fought in Tennessee. He fought at what can only be described as the Crater. I'm not really familiar with that one. But this guy was all over the place when it came to mustaches. And
Rhode Island, I think a known breeding ground for mustaches.
Oh, of course. I mean, when I think mustache, I think, you know what? One of the smallest states in the union.
Yep.
And I guess maybe it's just the island ambiance gets one thinking about, twirling a mustache.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at this photo you just sent. This is incredible.
He's a hero. He's an American hero. Wait, did he fight for the Union? Yes, he did. An American hero.
Just want to make sure he's on the right side of history there.
Even in his retirement, the man had a banging mustache. And you know how girls feel about the mustache, Ben.
Sure, yeah.
They love it. It's a sign of manhood. It's a sign of good times. You know this guy's down to party. And,
Virility.
And yeah, virility. So a salute to you, sir, Ambrose. And Burnside, which makes sense. His last name's Burnside, side Burns, Burnside.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to give it up to probably one of the most famous American mustaches, at least in the top 5.
Man, that
Mr.
second
Burnside.
photo you sent me, the one that you sort of alluded to might be his retirement photo, is almost even more impressive. I think I
Yeah.
like that one better because it's all white and
Yeah.
it just has this extra layer to it. You
Yeah.
know, the dark colored mustache is impressive in its own right, but
Right.
the white one is just like it's like a some sort of effed up Santa Claus or
Yeah.
something. That's
Well,
just like, man, that's captivating.
In the younger photo, you expect young people to have hair of that substance, but then
Yeah,
even
yeah,
into as I'm assuming 90s, maybe hundreds, he's still sporting the girth of the stash. Even
Yeah.
though his white hair has come in, he's like, you know what? I'm still as strong as ever, and so's my hair, and just kept that thing fluffy, man.
Absolutely.
I salute your way, sir.
All right,
Ben,
so my
number
number four is Errol Flynn. Tyler.
Ooh, he had a huge dong.
This one, yeah, there are many stories out there about Errol Flynn and whether or not he raped younger, underage women.
Oh,
That's
God.
like a whole thing that I don't necessarily think we should get into right now. But I chose him just because I feel like he's representative of the era of mustaches,
Okay.
or of that particular era. I'm talking like 1930s style. It's not quite like a pencil thin mustache. It's got a little bit more body to it than that, but it definitely reminds me of, like a Clark Gable kind of thing. I feel like he was, he played Captain Blood, Tyler, which we watched years ago. He was Robin
Semi-good
Hood.
movie.
He was, one of these dashing, swashbuckling types that was like one of the biggest action movie stars on the planet at the time, and he was very influential as far as or I think anyway. I don't know if Dave, our intern, wants to back me up on this or not. So you can look this up, but I feel like his style was very influential at the time, and I feel like he future generations of actors. How you got to look back and be like, Errol Flynn, that's the man right there. Like,
Right.
I want to look like that guy. He was a clear sex symbol, and his mustache is it's different than a lot of the other ones on my list. It's the skinniest mustache of any on my list, but I feel like it has a classiness to it that maybe does not fit with the personality of the actual man and his deeds. But
It's very Clark Gable. It's very Clark Gable-y. I don't know. Does Clark Gable predate Errol Flynn as far as their eras in movies?
I think they were right around the same time. I'll have to.
Maybe they had a mustache club that only certain people could join, like them and Walt Disney and all these other Vincent Price, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, now we're talking.
Michael, please comb my mustache. Just to go back to Mr. Burnside for a second, let's see. What rank was he?
Hey, he was your number 5, right? Is that what you're talking about?
He was my number 5. He actually died at age 57, so
Oh.
not as old as I thought. Let's take a jog around that fort every once in a while, Burnside. You might be able to live longer. Ben, great number 4. My number 4.
Just quick clarification here. Gable won the Academy Award for Best Actor for a movie called It Happened One Night in 1934.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Claudette Colbert.
Oh, hell yeah. And then
lift that dress just to show the shin, just the calf. Nothing more.
Errol Flynn was in Captain Blood in 1935, so they were sort of right around the same time. I feel like, I think Gable was a bigger star faster than Errol Flynn, but they were operating right around the same time.
Clark Gable. I'll bet you this, Errol. You can't grow your mustache as thin as I can. Ha ha! I can just see the conversation. My number 4 is from television. It's played by a guy with a name. Nick Offerman. I'm talking Ron Swanson, Ben.
Nice, that's a good one.
Ron Swanson is my number 4, of course. He made the mustache famous in Pawnee, Indiana, a fake town. He ends up settling down, I want to say, with the Parks and Rec universe's Lucy Lawless, which is just super hot. He also kind of sort of bangs around with 3 different people named what is his ex-wives' names?
Tammy.
3 Tammys, I believe, are involved at some point.
Yep.
Everybody thought that he would get hooked up with Leslie. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. He does not care for her politically. He barely cares for her personally. But yeah, Ron Swanson's mustache is much like Mr. Burnside's. It's a symbol of I'm doing my own thing. I chop my own wood. I wear burlap underwear. I live in the outdoors. I know how to build a boat. Stuff like that. Stuff I can't do because, as we've already mentioned, I have an inability to grow a very, very masculine mustache. Yes. So I'm assuming everything else that I can't do is because of my mustache faults.
Right. Yep.
But Ben, Ron Swanson, big fan?
Oh, I'm a big fan. Yeah, I have Nick Offerman's book. And it's worth a read, I would say. Yeah. It's a little pedantic. Is that the right word? I don't even know what that word means. Let me look that up real quick.
I don't know, Professor. You're using all these big words on me. I don't know.
Pedantic, over like a pedant. Long, dense, and too pedantic to hold great appeal. No, it's not. It's not long or dense. It's actually maybe a bit too self-absorbed, I would say. But it is an autobiography. So
okay.
I guess that comes along with the territory. He wrote about his own life. That's what that means.
Is that the one where he's in the canoe?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Build your own canoe.
Build your own canoe. Yeah. Have you seen his stand-up American Ham?
I have not. Is it good?
It's okay.
Okay.
He's pretty funny.
But I'm digging him in Fargo so far, season 2.
Lots of swears, Nick. Lots of swears in that special. I don't care for swear words.
All right,
Ben. Moving on. Number 3.
My number 3 is a tie, Tyler. I gotta do this.
Oh, nice. That's okay.
Sorry. I couldn't decide between Burt Reynolds and Tom Selleck, so I just chose both of them.
Okay.
In my number 3 slot.
My number 3. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
My number 3, Tom Selleck.
Okay, there we go.
Boom, yeah.
So the reason I couldn't choose is because their mustaches are so similar to me in the photos that I'm seeing. I feel like I have to give Burt Reynolds a little bit of an edge, and this is where our lists will differ. If you're number 3, if you're solid number 3,
Solid Selleck, yeah. Which is the name of my forthcoming podcast, Solidly Selleck, where I talk about not his movies, not his TV shows, but just his mustache.
Okay.
Because this thing is glorious.
Instant subscribe. So I got to give Reynolds a little bit of an edge here because I feel like there's more of a playfulness to it. And the Tom Selleck one, yeah, and maybe that has a lot to do with the personalities of the two guys, but I feel like the Tom Selleck persona and the mustache and everything is a bit more serious than, his version of comedy is more Um, I want to say almost more of a
Pedantic?
yeah, yes, exactly. No, it's his version of comedy is almost more of like he's the straight man, and Reynolds can sometimes play the straight man, but there's always a sense of almost whimsy underneath that you feel like he's in on the joke,
Right.
maybe a little bit even before you are, but he relishes the opportunity to release it and to sort of play into that. And I feel like the mustaches have defined both of these guys' personalities throughout the 80s, 90s, and today, like a radio station.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the Burt Reynolds mustache has a bit more playfulness to it, and that's why it sort of scoots just a hair, Tyler, if you will, above the Selleck for me.
Well, I've been watching this show that I did not know existed until this year, and it's called Evening Shade, and it stars Mr. Burt Reynolds. I think it was on from like 1990 to 1994, which I was appalled by, because the quality of this show is not great.
Okay.
And so
Oh, you were appalled that it was on
for
at
4 seasons,
a
yes.
time that you would consider to be like a modern era.
Well, not only that, but it was on for 4 years, and I was appalled that I had missed it, and I was appalled that it was on for that long. I mean, the acting is whatever. It's Burt Reynolds. He's the only reason the show is on is because of Burt Reynolds, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, you know what, Burt, we're going to go in a different direction. It was like, oh, Burt Reynolds gets to make his own show. I guess
Yeah.
we have to put that on television.
Right.
But Tom Selleck, I mean, he's in so many things. He's in Quincy Down Under, I think is the name of that cowboy movie where he's in Australia.
I'll have to check that.
He's in that made-for-TV movie about he's like a cop. Jesse Stone, that's it.
Yep.
He's in
Quigley Down Under.
Quigley Down Under.
Yep. Close. Yep.
You've got 3 Men and a Baby. You've got Mr. Baseball. You've got his appearances on Magnum PI. You've got his appearance on Friends. And, of course, the well-respected show that I've never seen, Blue Bloods. Over there on CBS. Hoping to get sponsored by CBS someday. And so I just think his work is a little more diverse, and I think I enjoy watching Selleck more than I do Reynolds.
Sure. Yeah.
But I want to say Reynolds was probably more of the sex symbol, at least in the 70s. I don't know if Burt's been. I guess he is a sex symbol in his own right, but I feel like Tom Selleck could like beat out Burt Reynolds in like a lumberjack like decathlon or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Reynolds, even though he definitely starred in some, like down and dirty movies back in the 70s, I feel like he has maybe adopted more of like a little bit more of a pretty boy persona in his later career, and then not his later career where he's like an old man, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But Selleck, I always feel like is one of those guys that that has the ability to walk the walk and talk the talk. Like he's a guy who maybe he lets his mustache lead the way, but he wouldn't mind throwing down if he had to.
No, you're talking about Burt Reynolds in Heat, correct? Where he was down and dirty.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that was in the 80s, but that was what a god awful movie that was.
And of course, we reviewed that over at the Not Just New Movies podcast, njnmpodcast.blogspot.com.
Yes.
Ben, number 2.
My number 2, Tyler. This is one that I'm pretty sure is going to be on your list. He's a legend in the Western genre.
Yes.
He was in The Big Lebowski as the narrator, the stranger. And
The stranger.
Man, he is just he's the first guy really that I think of, the first human, we'll put it that way, that I think of when I think about fantastic mustache, and that is Mr. Sam Elliott.
Of course. What would the world be like without Mr. Sam Elliott?
A really terrible place.
Yeah, it would be. Sure. It's bleak.
Yeah, a bleak place. His performance in Tombstone, unmatched, and by anything, I want to say. And
yeah,
you just sent me a picture of him like grinning like an idiot with this fantastic mustache from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The story is on full display in Tombstone, but not as much display as Sam Elliott's mustache.
Yeah,
which is my number one, Sam Elliott. Boom.
One.
So we're
There
talking
it is.
about it now.
Yes.
Ben, you were going to talk about how great his mustache was. I hope you continue.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we saw a video years ago of, you know how on the old late night with Conan O'Brien show he would do that thing, and I know you know, Tyler, but I'm talking mostly to the audience here. That thing where he would bring up a TV with a photo of Arnold Schwarzenegger with a hole in the mouth where the mouth was supposed to be,
Right.
and then somebody else would put their mouth there and do
Yeah.
a terrible Schwarzenegger impression. We saw somebody apply that same technique to a still image of Sam Elliott at the bar in the Big Lebowski,
Right.
talking solely about how badass his mustache was,
Right.
and I think that's a big part of why he even though the real Sam Elliott had nothing to do with that video, it really sort of captured the guy's essence, I think, and sort of elevated him into even further badass status than he already was in our minds.
Yeah. Pretty great.
Yeah, man, this guy, like, what else can you say? He's been in superhero movies. He was in Ghost Rider. He was in Hulk. He's
that's
been
right.
in a ton of different westerns. He was actually in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid back in 1969. That was one of his first movie roles, which is like one of the classic westerns ever made, let alone Tombstone and all the other ones we've talked
Right.
about. So I don't remember. Did he have a mustache in Roadhouse?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I want to
So,
say
yeah,
I want to say yes.
there
Heartily.
you go.
He also went toe-to-toe with Ron Swanson in Pawnee.
He did, yeah. That's a great callback to your previous selection there.
Crossover.
Yes, man, and I think he had a spot on the last season of Justified, which I did not watch.
Oh no,
But
I have not yet watched it yet. But
Okay.
I said yet twice because I'm
you're that excited.
I'm a baller like Sam Elliott. But yeah, I'm gonna check that out with bated breath if Sam Elliott makes an appearance.
And I think right now you can hear his gravelly voice in The Good Dinosaur, the new Pixar movie. I don't know
boy.
if he voices a dinosaur or that human child, but I'm really got my fingers crossed for the human child because that voice coming out of that human would be pretty amusing. So
That's awesome. Ben, my number two might be your number one. Let's go ahead and get with your number one.
Oh, should I do it?
Yeah.
My number one is Yosemite Sam.
I went full in. I was pot committed. I went full in, hoping that your number one was the same as my number two. And yes, it's Yosemite Sam.
Okay, all right, there we go. I was not expecting Yosemite. I thought Yosemite Sam would be a like a sleeper pick that would only show up on my list.
Nope.
But
I know my I know my mustaches.
Yep, glad to see it make an appearance here. I feel like because this is my number one, I'll just start it off and then I'll let you take your own crack at this one. But I feel like the main reason that it's my favorite mustache is because it first of all, it basically overwhelms even his entire face.
Oh yeah, it's all over.
And then secondly, just the sheer length of it is just it's phenomenal, really. Like it goes past his knees in most images.
Yeah.
Which is impressive in its own right.
Excruciatingly long.
What do you think about this one, Tyler?
Yeah, I for some reason I thought his eyebrows were connected to the mustache. That the mustache
I think they are in some pictures.
The mustache was so great it had to grow over something else. So it was like, you know what? We've got the nose on lock. Let's go for those eyes.
Yeah.
And he's always kind of the antagonist, but you have a lot of fun watching him get super, super pissed at, like, you know, Daffy Duck or Bugs from time to time. I don't know if he has any real run-ins with Elmer Fudd. I think they're both baddies in the Looney Tunes universe.
Yep.
I don't know if Foghorn Leghorn ever runs into Yosemite Sam, but that's something I will look forward to in the near future. But yeah, he's one of my favorite Looney Tunes, and he's also one of my favorite mustachioed characters of all time. At number 2 on my list, number 1 on Ben's. Amazing.
Tyler, he's the hootinest, tootinest, shootinest, bobtailed wildcat in the West.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And of course, many props to Mel Blanc, who voiced almost every single Looney Tune.
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
The man of 1,000 voices.
I think that was his real nickname.
Yeah. He was originally on the Jack Benny radio show, and he would not only do characters, but he would also do the like objects. He would like play a car or a door. He was that versatile.
That's awesome.
And so Yosemite Sam pretty much came naturally, I want to say, because I believe Mel Blanc also had a mustache. So
there we go.
Ben, you know what that means. If you have your own top 5 mustachioed individuals, you got to send in that list. Maybe Mel Blanc is on there. But until then, that's the end of the show. We've crunched the numbers. Ben, how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I want to shout out to one honorable mention. And that's one I just saw in Google Images as I'm searching through right now, and one that I forgot that might have made my list if I had remembered it accordingly. But it is Kurt Russell, not in Tombstone, although his mustache in Tombstone is magnificent.
Glorious.
Is Kurt Russell in Bone Tomahawk, which is this awesome movie that is not getting enough attention. I think it was unrated, and that's why it didn't really get a big theatrical run. It's insanely violent at the very end. But I encourage you. It's going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. I know we're getting into December.
Is it number one?
Sort of, it might be number one. It's the dialogue is amazing. But
Vin Diesel has family, not friends.
Yeah, Furious 7 is probably going to be up there pretty high too. But the dialogue is fantastic. Check this out, Bone Tomahawk. Look, it's on demand right now.
Really?
And I think it's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD like just after Christmas, like December 28th, 29th, something like that. Kurt Russell's mustache in this thing, it's almost like Ambrose Burnside level, where it connects, and it's just like this huge, glorious thing. So Google for that, and please go seek out Bone Tomahawk, because it's freaking awesome. So I feel pretty good about this episode, Tyler. I think we knocked it out pretty well.
Yeah.
You can find more of our podcast stuff at where? Fivecast Podcast? No, I don't know. You do this part.
I do this part, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on geektyrant.com. Just type in Fivecast. That way I don't have to remember any URLs. I just say, type in Fivecast. You can send your own mustachioed lists to fivecastpodcast@gmail.com. We love getting emails. We don't get enough of those these days. So make sure you send us those emails so that I can keep that account open and active. Because I think they charge me after a while. Twitter, of course. I think there's going to be a Tolkien Month website that is going to be started December 1st. And so I'll be hopefully be doing, if this idea pans out, hopefully it does now that I've announced it. But for the most of December, I'll try to do a Tolkien post every day.
Wow!
Probably until Christmas. I have it set up, Ben, where I do minimal work.
Okay.
So don't think it's this amazing feat.
Okay. What's that website so people can track it down?
I have no idea yet.
Okay.
I have no idea. I've not set up the website yet.
Okay.
But go to our Twitter, Fivecast Twitter, and I think it'll post there. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, you can just follow the Twitter account. All you Tolkien fans that have found this mustachioed episode of the Fivecast. Ben, where can the Fivecasters find you?
Yeah, you can track me down on Twitter, twitter.com/Ben Pears. You can find me writing every day at geektyrant.com, and you can find me, on, I guess, co-hosting old episodes of the Not Just New Movies podcast at njnmpodcast.blogspot.com, where we reviewed both Mr. Baseball and Heat movies, and Tombstone, I think, actually.
Yeah, Tombstone, too.
Ton of mustache-heavy movies over there.
There you go.
So yeah, check it out.
Top 5 NJNM podcast episodes with mustaches in them.
We're gonna be running out of lists by the time we get to that one.
I'm gonna compile that right now. So yeah, check us out. If you're joining us after our Macy's Day Parade episode, congratulations.
Yes, thanks for sitting through that one. It's
as silly as you would have thought. I don't know what the rest of the exit is, but until next week, guys, take 5. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Take 5.